We are currently in our RV camping for the holiday season, and we may be on what is quite possibly the most expensive RV site in America, and we're going to talk all about it in this episode of Travels with Delaney,
the podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick.
I'm Patty.
And we are currently in our RV, which always makes us very happy. Happy. The holiday is officially over. We're actually recording this a couple days after Christmas.
Right.
Not sure when this episode is airing. I'm sure New Year's will be long gone by then.
Probably.
And so today I want to talk about the campsite and the campground we're currently in.
Right.
But before we do that, Patty.
Oh, no.
That's right. We have to play another episode of This or That.
Okay.
So, Patty.
Yes.
You have to make a decision.
Okay.
And the decision is for dinner.
Ooh.
Are you going to choose shrimp scampi?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to choose lasagna?
Ooh. Oh, boy. I like them both. They're all yummy, tasty. I think I'd have to go with shrimp scampi.
Shrimp scampi it is. All right.
There's something about shrimp scampi. I just love. I like lasagna too, but there's something that attracts me to shrimp scampi all the time. It's just so good.
Well, I know you're a big fan of lasagna, and I thought if we go out for Italian, which there's a good chance we will.
Yeah.
I was just curious which way you would go.
I don't know. That'd be a toughie. I'd have to decide on the spot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe what you're in the mood for.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get right into it because we have a lot to share with you guys today. And I asked the question, is this possibly the most expensive campsite in America? And I'm going to answer that right up front with no.
No.
It's not even the most expensive campsite in the park that we're in.
No, it's not.
So, to give you some context, we are currently paying $245 a night. That includes all the taxes and fees.
That's a lot of pretty pennies.
And we are at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort.
Right.
Campground and whatever we call it.
Yep.
And so we thought we would share with you a little bit about our stay, what's going on here, and about the park. We know the thing is, we've always said, Patty, that Fort Wilderness is one of our absolute favorite places to camp.
It is just so beautiful here.
It really is.
The campground is laid out so well, even though you have, 799 sites?
Yeah. Plus
some cabins.
409 cabins back here.
It just doesn't, it's big, but you don't feel like you're in a parking lot or anything like that. It's just well laid out, and the trees and the cypress trees, and there's different loops, and it's just well laid out for everyone to have their space. It's just nice.
Yeah, it's actually set on 700 acres. So there's lots of lush vegetation. There's pine trees, cypress trees. And when they laid this thing out, they were really smart. They did it in loops. And I don't think there's a loop that has more than maybe 65, 69 sites in it. So even though it's massive, it doesn't feel like...
It doesn't feel like it's massive at all. No.
And so, yeah, it's just a really good layout. Now, this park has actually been here since 1971.
I wasn't even born yet.
No. How about that? So it opened in November of 71. But you know what I find fascinating is most parks that were probably built back in the 70s, early 70s, may not have been set up for today's big rigs. And yet somehow Disney has this thing laid out to where it is very big rig friendly.
It is. I mean, you see some mammoth Class A's, beautiful Provost. I mean, some of the rigs here are just unbelievably big and beautiful. And they have space for them. It's just crazy how they can fit. You would think, that some of the sites, but I know they've revamped a few areas over the years, but they have just done a nice job keeping up with how trailers have gotten bigger and they're not teeny tiny.
Right. Now, I mentioned that our site at $245 a night is not the most expensive site, but it's also not the least expensive. So we'll give you a quick rundown on what they have here. So they have 90 what they call partial hookup sites. Now, these are just going to have water and electric. And honestly, those sites really are designed for tents, pop-ups, maybe like Class B vans. They tend to be smaller. Again, there's no sewer hookup, and honestly, I'm not even sure if there's a dump station here. I've never seen a
I've
dump
never
station.
seen one.
I don't want to say there isn't. I've just never, in all the years of camping here,
Because
seen.
you think you'd see a lineup,
Right.
you know, like of folks, but I don't think there is.
No, and so those sites, again, really are not meant for big rigs or anything like that. We've never even camped in a partial
No.
hookup site, but I think if you had like a pop-up camper, a teardrop might work okay if you're okay with not having sewer.
Right.
But the bulk of the sites here, over 700 of the sites, are full hookups, and that's what we're currently in. We're in what they call a full hookup site. There's 4 loops. I believe it's the 1600, 1700, 1800, and 1900 loops. They're all together.
Good memory.
I know. And so our site, just to describe it for you a little bit, is we are packed in on asphalt or concrete. I'm not sure which it is. I think it's concrete.
I think it's concrete.
And so our RV is on concrete. We step out on concrete, and our tow vehicle is on concrete.
Right.
And then behind our site, we have a big patio area of like a pea gravel.
Right.
Very nicely done. They have wood holding it all in.
That's what makes it awesome. That the way they trim it out, I
Yeah.
guess, with the pieces of wood to keep that pea gravel there.
Yep.
And it just makes it really nice. And there's no mud.
Right.
Mud is my nemesis.
No, there really is. I mean, there are areas you could step out into, but they just have these laid out well. We have water hookup with 2 spigots. We have 50 and 30 and 15 amp hookup for electric. And then we have a sewer hookup, which is done so well. They do like a little sink where you have the place to hook up, and there's a drain in there. So like if you just need to dump something or like that. We have a metal picnic table, and we also have a charcoal grill on our site. And so there are 157 of these sites, and these, for most RVs, this is going to be your entry level. Again, unless you have something smaller like a pop-up, and you can get into one of those partial, if you even want a partial. But we're not the most expensive site.
No, we're not.
So you can step up. They have 125 what they call preferred sites.
Right.
And they're going to basically look like our full hookup site, except it's going to get you into either the 100, 200, or 300 loop.
Which means you're close to the marina, which means you're close to Trails End, where you can
Pioneer
get food.
Hall, where the Hoop-de-Doo Review is, the food service.
And the boat service to the Magic Kingdom.
Right. And that's the real advantage for people who want to be close to kind of the central hub of that and the marina to be able to go to the Magic Kingdom, or you can also get boat transportation to the Wilderness Lodge and the Contemporary Resort. And so they charge a little bit more for location. Now, we have stayed in the preferred loops before.
Right, we have.
I personally am not a fan.
I think they're a little tighter.
They are the original loops.
And
yes.
They're just kind of, we didn't even have a huge rig. We had the Lance, and it was just a little challenging to get it in and get it set and have room for your tow vehicle. It was tight.
Yeah.
It seemed.
Yeah, honestly, for me personally, it's not worth the extra money to be up by the marina.
No.
But for some people, they like
That's
that,
what they want.
And you can walk, to things very easily. We'll talk about how we get around here in a minute. Then the next most expensive site is what we call a premium site, and these do have a difference, and the difference is they have no pea gravel.
Right.
The entire site is concrete.
It is.
So your picnic table is on concrete, your grill is on concrete, and you just have a lot of concrete.
And you're just kind of like, I guess, near like different, they call it the Meadows Trading Post, and there's some different like waterways and canals, and I guess your view or your site area is a little different.
Maybe. And you mentioned the Meadows Trading Post. So the Meadows Trading Post is about halfway back in the campground, and it's a gift shop where you can pick up, your souvenirs, and they have a few little groceries. But it's also where the main pool area is.
And the campfire for Chippendale. And
the nightly campfire is there.
If
you want a premium site in the Meadows area, that is the most expensive site here at Fort Wilderness Resort. So you have premium sites, and then you have premium meadow sites now. So they're charging a premium for a premium in the meadow section, if that makes sense.
Can you get it out?
Yeah, I think so. And so, yeah, it's just a new rate category.
Yep.
So they're charging, and each one goes up a little bit more. Now,
Sure.
I will say, for anyone who's feeling anxiety that I'm paying $245, and I understand we are here during peak season. It is the
Yes.
Christmas holiday season. It's the most expensive time.
It is. It is.
As a comparison, we were here in July of 2021, which is not peak season,
No.
unless it's peak heat season,
Yeah.
but
You're
not
on the
tourist
sun
season.
when you're here.
Yeah. And we were in a preferred site, which is technically one step up from
Right.
where we're at for 135 a night.
Right.
So,
It just depends on the season.
it's very seasonal in
Yep.
terms of the
Pricing.
rates.
Yeah.
Few other things. Check-in here is at 1 o'clock, but I will tell you, we have arrived before 1
And
o'clock.
we get in.
Yeah, if your site is available,
Yep.
they will let you typically go on back. Checkout is 11 a.m., which I think is pretty standard for most RV parks. Some go a little later, but
And now sites available. I mean, that doesn't just mean the rig that was there previous is gone.
Right.
They clean them.
yes.
They do like what's called, I call it a deep clean. Like we saw some workers here using some kind of tool that would
It's like a power brush or
something
something,
that would
scrubbing
wash.
the concrete.
Yeah. We thought maybe there was
They don't
like,
do that every time.
No, but I think it must be like a random
Yeah.
Cleaning.
But every time they will come out, they blow off the site with a gas blower. They will get the hose out and hose off any areas that are,
The hose off
dirty.
where you park, yeah.
They'll like rake the pea gravel. I mean,
They'll clean out the fire pits. They're pretty cleaned out.
well, there's no actual fire
Oh, that's
pits.
true.
They clean out the charcoal
That's
grill.
right. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah. But I mean, it truly is housekeeping for
It
the
is.
campground.
It is.
And so, yeah, once that is done, then they
Then
will
they'll let you
allow
back.
people to
Yeah.
come back here. The great thing is if, let's say you arrive at noon and your site is not ready, they have a huge parking
They
area
do.
where you can just pull over and hang out until your site is ready. So
Right.
you don't have to worry like, oh, I got there, now what do I do?
Where do I put this thing? Yeah.
Right, there's places that you can pull to and hang out.
Right.
So,
Right.
but yeah, so that's kind of gives you the rundown on the sites and the pricing. Now, a little tip that I have for you is let's say you decide you want to book, but you waited till, like the last minute. And the last minute is anything within inside of 12 months. Because
Yeah.
literally people are booking this a year
Yes,
plus.
they do. Yep.
We did not book our Christmas reservation until July. Now, most people, when they go to book a reservation here or anywhere, they'll put in all the dates that they want.
Right.
And I recommend doing that. I originally put in like December 24th through December 29th, and it said there was no availability. But what I always do when I'm booking Disney is I work backwards. So then I'll do the 24th to the 28th, 24th to the 27th. Unbelievably, I worked all the way back one night to just the 24th, and it
Right.
was available.
Yeah.
And I booked it. I literally booked one night, knowing that I could cancel it
Right.
if I couldn't get any more nights. The next day, I went in and tried the 25th through the 29th. Nothing. Wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
Worked it back, was able to get the 25th and the 26th, booked those 2 nights. Now we have the 24th, 25th, and 26th booked. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, I was able to get the 27th and the 28th. Now, one thing is you want to make sure you're booking the same site type. You don't want to be booking a preferred on the
Right.
24th
Right.
and then a premium on the 25th and 26th, because then you're going to have to move because you have booked 2 different site types. I made sure that I had booked full hookup on all 3 reservations. But that's how we were able to get a reservation in July for the holiday season.
Right. Yep.
So
Yep.
just most people just think big picture. I like to chunk it and put those together.
And then what they do is they link them together.
They link
for
them
you.
together. We have not. In fact, we had 4 reservations
Yeah.
for this trip because on the drive down, we ended up deciding we were making such a good time we wanted to come straight here, and so we booked the 23rd. So we had a reservation for the 23rd, a reservation for the 24th,
Yep.
a reservation for the 25th, 26th, and a reservation for the 27th, 28th. When I checked in, I said, "Look, I have." He goes, "4 reservations." I'm like, "Yes." And he goes, "No problem. We're going to keep you on the same site." And they're just awesome here. Customer service is great.
Oh, they're great.
So why are people paying 200 plus per night to stay here, Patty. What's it all about?
It's just magical. It's to me, you've got a few things. You're so close to the parks.
It's location.
Yep.
Let's be honest. You're
Yep.
paying for location.
Well, yeah, you can be right on the lake that you can sit and watch. If you don't want to go to the Magic Kingdom and see the fireworks, you can watch them from the beach. You got all this Disney transportation to get you around. You don't have to drive anywhere and deal with the traffic. Boats, buses, monorail, whatever you need, you can get to it.
Yeah, good
and
example
go.
was the other night we had a Disney reservation at Disney Springs,
Yep.
and I wasn't going to take the Beast
No.
truck up there at
Heck
night.
no.
And so we literally drove. Now we are renting a golf cart.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they do is you can reserve a golf cart.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, you want the golf cart because it's big and it helps you get around.
Right.
And
And then this time of year, folks bring Christmas to the campground.
they do. And so the campground itself is an attraction.
Yeah.
So we just take the golf cart and go out in the evenings, what we call looping,
Yep.
just going through all the different loops to look at decorations.
The
And it's
blow-ups
not
and
just
lights and everything.
yeah, and it's not just Christmas.
No.
We've been here at the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
We've been here at Easter.
Easter.
We've heard Halloween is massive decorating.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's pretty much year round. So, but no, so we jumped on our golf cart, rode it up to the main area where you check in, and we caught the bus to Disney Springs. Didn't have to deal with the traffic, didn't have to deal with parking.
It was
when,
nice.
When we were done with our dinner, caught the bus back here, jumped on our golf cart, came right back to our site. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you are paying for, it's that old marketing adage of location, location, location. We are in the heart of the magic.
We are.
And you have a lot of perks by staying here.
Yes, you do.
And transportation is definitely one of those perks. The other Christmas night, we had a dinner reservation, took our golf cart the opposite direction up to the marina.
Got on a boat.
Got on a boat to the Wilderness Lodge, went there for pre-dinner drinks and appetizers. Caught another boat to the Contemporary where we had dinner.
And then we always like to look at we call it the monorail loop.
Yep.
All the hotels there. We like to go and stop and get off the monorail and look at all the Christmas decorations, the Poly, the Polynesian, Grand Floridian, of course the Contemporary. So.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what you're paying for. Not to mention, there is honestly, you never even have to leave the resort.
You can get groceries here if you had like some things you're missing.
Short things. Is that what short things? I'm not sure what short things means. I was going to say small things like if you need a loaf of bread. I bought a box of donuts the other day. I think they have some cold cuts and mayo.
Just a few little things.
And that's nice that you have that because then you don't have to. I mean, I'm sure I overpaid for those Entenmann donuts.
Well,
but
there's restaurants here.
Yes. So here in the campground, you have 3 options. First one is the Trails End Restaurant, which sadly has changed.
It has. It used to be like a buffet style.
It was a buffet. And they did away with the buffet this year, and now it's just like I guess you would call it almost like a counter service where you just order some food and then pay for it and take it to a table and sit down. But they do serve good food here. It's fried chicken. It's things like barbecued ribs, pizza. And I tell you, last night when we went up to pick up our chicken dinner, because that's the other thing, you can get food to go and bring it back to your campsite. The pizzas actually looked really good that they were doing. Yeah. There's also Crockett's Tavern up there where, again, you can get like bar food and adult beverages. Yep. And then I think the big attraction is the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review.
And that is so fun. It's like a dinner theater.
Yeah.
Where the cast members are like from the farm and
they're singing. It's a real hootenanny.
It's like you're at a ranch and they're just having lots of fun and silly and it's good.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing it's about a 2-hour experience, I believe. And your prices run. They have like 3 different tiers depending on where you're going to set. But you just plan on probably $60 to $70 a person. But that does include your meal, and that meal is again ribs and chicken,
a baked potato, I think,
or mashed potatoes,
like
mac
that.
and cheese, strawberry shortcake.
Don't forget strawberry shortcake.
And they actually include all the beer and sangria as well as soft drinks in that price, and then you get the show.
And the venue's just cool. It looks like a western-y type of saloon, and it's just fun. Yeah.
And you do not have to be staying here to
No,
enjoy the
we've
hoop-de-doo.
done that
Oh,
before.
yeah. You don't even have to be on Disney
Nope.
property as long as you book a reservation and pay for it. And the way that would work is you would park out front and then take the internal bus back to
Yep.
Pioneer Hall. And then after the show, you would do the opposite, take the bus back
Right.
out to the parking
Right.
lot. So, yeah.
Right.
So I mean, you have restaurants here, and then activities. I mean,
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. You've got Chippendale's campfire. They do, I think, every evening.
every evening, and what that basically is
It's a community fire pit.
a couple community fire pits,
Mhm.
and you can bring your own s'more kit, or you can buy one from them.
Yep.
And
They kind of do a sing along around the campfire
with Chippendale.
Yep. And then they have usually a movie. They have a big outdoor screen. They
Yep.
show a movie on for anyone who wants to watch it. So
Yep.
yeah.
So you have that. You have two different pools.
Yep.
The main pool area up by the Meadows
Right.
has a water slide, a kid's splash pad.
Hot tub.
Yep, and some food service during
Yep.
the day up there,
Mhm.
things like sandwiches and beverages.
Right.
And then there's also what we like to refer to as the quiet pool. I
Right.
think they call it the wilderness pool now.
Yep.
And it's just your basic, rectangular
Yep.
pool.
Quiet pool. we
But
call
it also has a hot tub, and we find that it's less busy and a little bit more quiet. That's why we call it the quiet
Yeah, that's
pool.
why we call it.
But then, beyond just the pools, you have you can do horse rides here. You can rent canoes. You can go fishing.
Right.
Um,
Bicycle rental. You can ride your bike if you didn't.
Yep.
If you want to ride a bike around, there's so many places to ride.
PSA, though.
Not e-bikes.
No e-bikes are allowed here. Wah, wah, wah.
No.
I don't know why.
I don't
see
know.
people on motorbikes
And
and
little kids on
scooters,
scooters, yeah.
but they say no. They even have an archery
They
experience.
do, and I noticed what they had like disc golf area now.
Well, I saw one. I don't know if there's more than
Yeah.
one. A basket. They have tennis
Volleyball.
courts. We saw people playing pickleball over on the tennis
there's
courts yesterday.
tetherball.
Yep. And then the big sandy beach
Yeah.
up on Bay Lake.
Yes.
And you can't swim,
Nope.
obviously, but you can go up and sunbathe. And then at night, you can watch the electric light parade go by,
Yep.
as well as the Magic Kingdom fireworks.
Right. It's a good spot for that. Yep,
absolutely.
Perfect. Yep.
And then one other thing I think we should mention is obviously pets are allowed because Truman and Bess are with us.
But there is a fee.
There is a fee. They do charge you $5 per pet per day.
day.
So we're paying so that $245, I believe, includes the pet fee. I think. I don't know. We'll see when I get the bill. Maybe it was
Right.
But what do you get for that? I don't know. Other than they have dog cleanup stations everywhere. So we've been
Right.
using their bags.
Yep.
We're trying to get our $5 per pet per day.
And there's the Wagon Tails Dog Park for the pets.
Right, which is split up two big areas, one for small dogs, one for large dogs.
And they have water stations there for them, and places if they get muddy, you can rinse off their feet or whatnot, and it's very secure for them. And yeah,
Right.
it's nice.
Yeah. So it's one of the we have stayed here probably a dozen times over the years, but because the rates have gotten
It's
fairly high, it's more of a special.
Yep.
We had not stayed here since July of 2021, and we had not spent a Christmas here since 18. I think we said 18 or 19,
something like that.
something like that. And so, it's one of these
was a
places where I think you and I have always said, if you've never stayed here,
You have to do at least one.
I would recommend at least 3 nights, just because it's not someplace you're going to want to spend that kind of money for one night to check in and check out. And but I do think it's a place, if you can afford to do it once, it's worth it. The shower houses are awesome. I always say
Beautiful.
they're nicer than ours at home.
They're gorgeous.
You've got laundry at the comfort
Very
stations,
nice,
ice
yep.
machines at the comfort station, and so just about everything you need.
Yep.
I know it's been a lot of money for this week, but it has been
It's been fun.
It's been fun and magical.
And you wouldn't think with such a large campground that it's peaceful. Well, it is pretty peaceful. It gets quiet at times. And sure, you hear the kids every now and then, but it's quiet and it's peaceful. And
Right.
It's very relaxing kind of place.
And I will be honest, we did not go to the parks this
No,
week.
mm-mm.
You don't have to go to the parks to camp here.
Nope.
And in fact, if you want to find out what some of the things we did this week were, we are going to be appearing on the RV Destinations podcast coming up in a few weeks. And we joined Callie and Randy Beheimer, and we shared all about the campground with them and also what we did and not going to the park. So if you want to
Right.
find out what you can do here that's absolutely free.
You say that again?
Free. Yeah, that's right. Free and Disney. Two words that typically don't go together.
Yeah.
But make sure you check out the RV Destinations podcast and be looking for the episode with Travels with Delaney. And you can then hear more about camping here at Fort Wilderness and the free things to do.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, Patty, we need to get going because we still have another whole day here
We do.
at Fort Wilderness, and I want to get my money's worth.
That's right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming along on today's episode. A huge shout out to our friend and producer, Jim Kuzman.
Hi, Jim. Thank you.
Jim's the one that keeps the lights on and keeps everything working on the audio side. And until next time, everyone, we'll see ya.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.